Welcome to the first episode of T.Y.S.K. I'm Conley.
I'm Hunter.
And this is the news. Alright, have you all heard about Chechnya telling Putin to use low-yield nuclear weapons in Ukraine?
No, I have not.
That's a pretty big piece of information. It actually came out today.
Wow.
Yep. And, you know, Lemon, the city, basically let me tell you about this city. So, 5,000 Russian troops got surrounded in Lemon. But this city specifically, it's very geographically important for Ukrainian troops to take back the rest of the Donbass region. You know, the 4 territories that Russia annexed recently. Yeah. So for them to take that region, they have to take the city. And if all the Ukrainian troops are built up in the city, and Russia's threatening to use nukes, where would they use nukes? That city. Because you think, for them to take the rest of the 4 regions, they have to take that city. It's like a bottleneck. All of them will be in that area. And Russia and China recently had a naval exercise near Japan, firing their guns into the Sea of Japan. And then they went up north, you know, towards Alaska.
Yeah.
But that was 2 weeks ago. But more recently, 2 days ago, there was 3 Russian nuclear submarines spotted 99 miles off the coast of Alaska. Or 160 kilometers for some of you. Russia and China are also making moves at the Arctic Ocean.
The Arctic Ocean.
Yep, China recently said they were an Arctic country. Means they're part of the Arctic, you know, country that borders the Arctic. But that's just not true. It doesn't border China.
Yeah.
But Russia, they're militarizing the Arctic. They're building lots of bases in the Arctic. Yeah.
They shouldn't do that.
And recently, since the weather, it's warming up a little bit, the ice is melting, so that's given them a whole new route for trade. It makes trade easier between Asia and Europe. It'll take away the Suez Canal. They won't need it anymore. Or at least for their trade. So it makes it easier for them.
Maybe for somebody else's trade.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You know, a lot of countries over there. But for, you know, Russia and China, it's going to be a lot easier to make trade like that.
Yeah.
And once the Arctic ice melts, it's a whole new continent. Who's going to get it first? The person with the biggest army in the region. But anyway, the Pentagon himself recently released a report saying that there's a 50% chance of nuclear war with Russia by 2023. If the Pentagon believes that, it's pretty important. That's a big deal, isn't it? You know, Russia is actually... Have you heard about the mobilization in Russia, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, they mobilized 300,000 troops, but the thing is, that part was left blanked out. They didn't make that public. They just said they were mobilizing. But Russian authorities said it was 300,000 troops. But there's actually reports that they're just going town to town, picking up everybody. Even letting out prisoners to go fight. And you know, Russia's actually only mobilized 2 other times since then. Well, before this. One in World War I, another Operation Barbarossa, when Germany invaded Russia, and then the 3rd time, in 2022. But a full mobilization would be like 10% of the population, which would be like 12, 14 million people.
Speaking about troops, Russia has troops occupied land in Georgia and Moldova.
Yeah. They have insurgent groups that is Russian-backed, literally holding territory in these other countries. Kind of like they did in Ukraine before they invaded Ukraine.
Yeah, and what you was talking about earlier about the Arctic, Russia has also talked about taking the Arctic. There are lots of contracts and untapped resources in the Arctic.
Yeah. Lots of oil, natural gas, gold, everything. It's just going to make their country richer. And once that pathway for trade fully opens up, the dictator of Belarus had a security meeting. And they recorded it and they posted it, you know. This was a few months ago, by the way. And there was a poster in the background. He had a little stick. He was pointing at it and stuff. And it showed plans for Russia to invade Moldova on this poster. It was like an actual map. And he had plans pointing at it. and it was saying Russia was going to invade Moldova.
Hmm.
Yeah. And like they actually recorded this, the dictator of Belarus, and they posted it. Yeah. I've actually watched the video.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably, actually I think I took a picture of the map. I could pull it up.
Yeah, but meanwhile, I see a possibility that when Russia gets all of their new troops into Ukraine, China could make a move at Taiwan, and North Korea could try to make a move on South Korea.
Yeah. I mean, North Korea has been launching missiles over Japan recently.
Yeah.
And then there was that time, a few weeks ago, when China and Russia had a military exercise in the Sea of Japan, shooting their guns into the Japanese Sea. But this is the map. Yeah. And you see Belarus, Ukraine, and then Moldova. And Moldova has Russian troops in it on this map. Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there it is. Russia could also, you know, the possibility of countries they could also try and take could be Georgia, Finland, any of the Baltic states, you know, like Lithuania, Latvia. And if they decide on it, war with NATO. Attempt to invade Poland, Germany, Sweden, and Norway. I mean, you have Venezuela, Cuba, they're all allies. They all support Russia's war with Ukraine. China, North Korea. North Korea even sent, there was rumors that North Korea sent 100,000 troops to Ukraine. I'm pretty sure Syria also sent troops to help in Ukraine too. It was either Syria or Iran, I don't remember which one it was. Russia and China announced in April that they had an alliance with no limits. And Russia and China have been meeting a lot since then. They've met, I think once, it was like 3 weeks after the war started. And they met again not too long ago in Mongolia, I think. Or Kazakhstan, it was one of the two. An alliance with no limits. What does that seem like? Alliance with no limits. I wonder what the limits are.
About China, after they do eventually, because they're most likely going to take out Japan with Russia, they'll probably target Taiwan, Philippines, and Australia to get all the American allies that are around them away from them so that they can take all that.
Yeah. I have also, I believe they've made threats at Australia before recently too.
Yeah.
And I think they sent ships in that region, around the coastal area. But Russia and China, September 15th, they announced that they were meeting to create a new world order. Yeah. That means pretty much expelling America as the world's superpower. I mean, if Russia is sending submarines, nuclear-powered submarines with nuclear missiles, well, they're not nuclear-powered, but they have nuclear missiles, you know, off the coast of Alaska, what does that really tell you? Also, not too long ago, Russia said they were drafting 125,000 troops. Then they said 300,000. So, you know, is it 300,000 or is it 425,000? Oh,